Hi, welcome back. I'm gonna keep playing Mahjong Solitaire. It's a very nice game. You know, the tiles are pretty, the stages look pretty. I'm keeping the assist on so I know what tiles can be matched and which ones can't, because otherwise I'm too stupid to figure it out for myself. And we're just gonna vibe a little bit. If I knew how to live stream, I just got a notification on my computer for, speaking of which, someone's live streaming. If I knew how to live stream, this would probably be pretty good to play on a live stream and just chill. But unfortunately, I don't know how to live stream. So I can't live stream. Honestly, that's probably a good thing. I wouldn't know what to do with myself on a live stream. I hardly know what to do with myself when I'm just recording, so a live stream is like a whole different beast, you know? I think it would be cool, though, if I could figure out how to live stream. But it also might not be a good idea, because my setup is awful. It's dog shit. I'm surprised it works at all. But, you know, you gotta make do with what you got, I guess. And what I got is a laptop that starts to overheat after 10 minutes of recording. A shitty $30 mic off Amazon. A notification that won't go away. Hang on, I need to close that out. Boom, goodbye. And a lot of spite in my heart, but also a lot of love, you know? I have a lot of love in my heart. I think these are supposed to look like trees. I think each stage is supposed to be designed to kind of look like something. Hang on, I'm readjusting myself in my chair. But I'm too dumb and therefore can't figure out what any of the stages are actually supposed to look like, so I just have to take guesses. This one kind of looks like a Christmas tree. It's kind of like cloud watching, you know? Clouds don't actually look like anything, but it's the human imagination and the inherent human need and capability to recognize patterns in things where patterns don't actually exist. You know, it's that allows us to see things in clouds. You know? It's probably what let all the ancient Greeks decide that constellations look like crabs. When really they don't. Those don't match. Like a bunch of stars. Like ancient Greeks, I don't know what you were on, but that. Whoops, sorry, I accidentally hit the trigger. But my guy, that does not look like a crab. That's not a crab. Also, I'm just realizing, I believe Mahjong is Chinese in origin. So the tiles are like Chinese-based designs, and I'm just realizing that like these sorts of tiles have numbers on them. And I want to clarify, I don't know Chinese numbers, but I do know Japanese numbers. So, in Japanese, as a language, took about 90% of their language from China. Writing-wise, at least. So I recognize a lot of the numbers, or a lot of the symbols above them, because I know the kanji, the Japanese kanji, that were derived from those particular symbols. So I'm like, oh, that's 1, that's 2, that's 3. I think it goes up to 6, at least the ones that I've seen so far. Like, this is 2, which is pretty easy to recognize, because there's 2 lines. You know, they kept that nice and simple. They kept it simple from 1 to 3, and then made it more complicated. This, I believe, is 5. Unless they're not the same in Chinese, but I'm at least basing my guesses off of Japanese numbers. 4 and 4. 6 bamboo with 6 bamboo. I'm assuming it's bamboo. I don't really know. Some of the designs on these tiles look like things, and some of them don't. You know? This looks like 6. The number, I mean, on this tile. What can be matched here? These two? Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay, buddy. Those, and then those. Speedrun. Mahjong solitaire speedrun. Boom. Easy. I'm not very good at commentary, but that's not going to stop me from trying, as is probably already evident. Looking at my recording right now, it looks like the game audio in general is not too loud, just based on the levels that I'm seeing. Ow, I have an itch. Which is good. It's good that the game audio at least does not appear to be too loud, because that was a problem that I felt like I was frequently having with Ace Attorney, and like even watching back my own footage, I was like, the game audio isn't impossibly loud, but it is louder than I would like it to be. I think part of that stems from the fact that the recording software that I use, which, in case I've never mentioned before, is the Elgato 4K capture utility, because I use an Elgato capture card. So I figured, and I'm pretty sure I could use OBS with the capture card, but the problem with that is I don't know how to use OBS, and I get confused every time I open it and look at it. And I think my sister knows how to use OBS, so I could probably ask her how to use OBS, but I'm not going to, because otherwise I'm perfectly content with the 4K capture utility. My only complaint is that there's no way to adjust audio levels. In their HD game capture program, Elgato's I mean, there is a way to adjust audio levels. It does let you change them to make sure, like... Well, that's a bummer. But it's not available in the 4K capture utility. So that's my only complaint is that I can't change the audio levels. I can't change the volume of the actual game capture itself. The most I can try to do is change the in-game audio, which I did do for Ace Attorney. I turned the in-game audio down as low as I could without muting it. But it's not a slider, unfortunately. It's got like 3 different levels, and all I could do was choose level 1, which is the quietest it can get without the entire game audio being muted. So that's the most I can do. There doesn't seem to be an options menu in 51 Clubhouse games, so I can't lower the in-game audio, but it looks like for the most part, it's not that bad. Like like my microphone audio is constantly peaking to yellow and sometimes even red, but this is a shitty microphone, so it's not even that loud anyway. Whereas the game audio does not seem to be doing that. It's not even reaching yellow most of the time, which is good. And if you have zero knowledge about anything I'm talking about, then this is going to sound very confusing. But if you have even the slightest idea what I'm talking about, you're going to be like, oh yeah, that kind of makes sense. Even though I'm abysmal when it comes to explaining things. Because I always explain things to myself in terms that I understand. But terms that I understand don't always equate to terms that other people will understand. I don't have a match for that. Yet. I do now. And now it's all coming together. God. I should stop trying to be cool. I need to just stop over it and then tap the button. God. I'm so inaccurate. Clear! Woohoo! Listen to that jazzy tune. How long am I going to be playing this for? Who knows? Oh, this looks like a key going into a lock. Okay, there's a lot to look at this time around. So we'll do that. And then we'll do that. I guess I'm just gonna play until I legitimately run out of things to talk about. Which sounds like it has almost happened over the past several minutes. Oh, I thought I saw an... Oh, there is another green. Never mind. I lied. Can match those. Oh, God damn it. I think I mentioned this in the other video, where I started playing mahjong. But I did used to have a mahjong app on my phone, so that I could just play it whenever I needed something to do, which happened a lot at school, you know? Because there's a lot of nothing that happened at school. But I think I got rid of it off my phone because I just wasn't playing it as much after I stopped physically going to school because everything closed down because of the, you know, don't tell the algorithm I said this, but the coronavirus. So I stopped playing the mahjong app as much, and also it consumed quite a bit of battery on my phone, and I didn't like that. I don't like things that eat a shit ton of battery off of my phone. Okay, no, those don't match. These do. I was mistaken. No, these do match. I'm not always the smartest, as you can see. But I did always like to play mahjong whenever I had nothing else to do, like if I got to class a couple minutes early and I had some time to just sit there, I would just be like, oh, okay, and I'd pull out mahjong and play it. The other game I would play quite a bit was Solitaire. Klondike Solitaire, to be specific, because I know there's like a million bajillion different variants of Solitaire, so I need to specify which one I'm talking about. And there is Klondike Solitaire in this game. In 52 Clubhouse games, they do have Klondike Solitaire. So I'll probably play that. Don't know if I'll play it today. I might. But I am having a good time just playing mahjong and chilling. You know, vibing, having a good time. I will eventually get to Ace Attorney. The 5th episode, I mean. I'll eventually get to recording it. I just didn't want to do it today. I was like, I want to record today, but I didn't want to record Ace Attorney. Because it's been all I've been recording for a while now. And I was like, I want to do something different instead. So I did something different. I played a little bit of Project Eva. But as I mentioned before, it's very likely that I won't go back to that game for a while, because I'm not enjoying recording it as much as I used to. It's not that I don't like the game anymore. I definitely don't play it as much as I used to, but it's probably largely because I have other games that I like to play now. Like, it's not the only option that I have for when I have time to kill and want to just do something to pass the time. So every now and then I'll go on the Nintendo eShop and browse the contents and see if there's anything I want to download. And I have managed to get a few games that way, including some that I do want to record, like try recording and see how it goes. Woo! Sorry, once you play Mahjong Solitaire enough times, it almost becomes kind of mindless. Where, like, you just... Maybe it's because these are the easy stages, but, you know. Okay, where's a match? Once I get one match going, my mind just automatically finds other matches as well. There's like so many games that I want to record, and considering my channel is ridiculously small, I don't really have to worry at all about what I record. Because my main goal is to blow up and then act like I don't know nobody. No, I just want to have fun. You know, I want to have a good time. I want to chill. Because the past couple years for everybody have just been awful. like, external circumstances have been terrible. You know, nobody's had a good past year and a half. Which is the main reason I decided not to go to college yet, is because I was like, I just want to calm down, you know? I don't want to do anything. Like, I just want to do nothing. And I'm not doing nothing. I'm just kind of doing things that are personally important to me. You know, things that I maybe didn't really have time to do before I finished school. Which is a lot. Now I feel kind of overwhelmed. To the point where I'm like, I want to do so many things. All of the things. And one of those is, like, focus more on my channel. And if I'm able to, like, blow up a little bit and manage to get somewhere with this, that would be pretty cool. It's not my primary goal. I'd love it for that to happen. Trust me, I really would. Even if it takes a while. You know, it's easy to get demotivated with this sort of thing. Because it's easy to look at other people who make content on YouTube and be like, I'm never gonna get there. I'm never gonna reach that point where I'm comfortable enough and feel like I can do this for a living. It's really easy to get yourself into that mindset of, this is gonna be ridiculously hard. And I'm not gonna say it's not hard. There are times when even I feel like, what even is the point? But then I'm like, the point is, I enjoy doing this. I'm having fun. I like recording. I like playing games and just talking and having a good time. That's the point for me. And then I can post it, and if anybody watches it and gets even just like 2 minutes of enjoyment out of a 30-minute video, that's good enough. You know? Sorry, there might be kind of some points where I'm not really saying much at all, and that's because it is kind of like I'm beginning to run out of things to say. But that's alright. You know, it's not that big of a deal. I think I was talking before about how there's a lot of games that I'd love to record, and there are. There's one game that I downloaded specifically for the purpose of recording. It's a game I've never played before. It's called The First Tree. I'd never even heard of it before I saw it on the Nintendo eShop, and I was like, that looks pretty interesting. Maybe I'll give it a shot. I didn't really look up anything about the game. I was just like, this looks kind of neat. I'm gonna buy it. It was also on sale, so that helped. You know, you're always more likely to buy something when it's on sale. So eventually I'll probably get to recording that. I don't know when. But eventually. There we go. I think I'll like finish the beginner stages and then stop playing for now, you know? Okay, my sister's really gonna come in clutch on this one. Let's see, what else could I talk about? I could just tell the embroidery needle story. So I don't think it was this video, but I did mention, I think in the last Clubhouse Games video at least, that yesterday I hurt my foot. And just to give a very quick recap of that story, I was in the bathroom, washed my hands, went to dry my hands, and as I turned, my foot hit something and it started bleeding. Very quick, very simple. Wasn't that big a deal. I just kind of panicked a little because I was like, oh no, my foot's bleeding. And, when any part of you is bleeding, and it very clearly shouldn't be, tends to strike the fear of God in you a little. But I also, at the same time, mentioned, just kind of offhandedly and casually, I once stepped on an embroidery needle, so it wasn't that bad. So, about 6 years ago, I was in 6th grade, so maybe a little bit more than 6 years ago. I stepped on an embroidery needle. And that by itself sounds kind of bad. And that's because it hurt. I was in my room, and I was walking around. I think I was trying to walk somewhere, or maybe leave my room, or maybe just go across it. I can't remember. The fine details aren't important. What's important is as I was walking through my room, I stepped on something. And at first I didn't know what I stepped on, because it didn't actually hurt that much. So I just kind of assumed, maybe there was, a piece of plastic or something, or maybe a rock that I dropped, or a pebble that, I dragged in after a walk around outside, that sort of thing. My mind did not immediately jump to needle. But I used to do embroidery, it used to be kind of a bit of a hobby of mine. I don't really do it anymore. But so I step on something and it hurts my foot, and I'm like, oh, well, that kind of sucks. And I stop walking, and I go to look at what I stepped on. I try to look at the ground to see what I stepped on. If you're squeamish, if you're not good with blood or injury or anything like that, I'm gonna give you a warning now. This is gonna sound kind of gross. I try to look down at what I stepped on, and there is an embroidery needle sticking out of the bottom of my foot. And I can't remember exactly what my initial reaction to that was, but I think it was along the lines of, oh shit. Because that's a very unique and very odd situation to find oneself in. And I was like, okay, it can't be in there that far, can it? And I shouldn't have done this. Even at the time, immediately after, I was like, that probably wasn't a good idea. I tried to tug on it a little to pull it out of my foot, and it didn't move really, so I was like, okay, this is gonna suck. And I just yanked it out of my foot. And it didn't actually hurt that much. If I can recall correctly, pulling it out of my foot did not actually hurt that much. It didn't feel that bad. And then there was just a very brief moment, a calm before the storm type of situation, before my foot started bleeding. And that was the point where I was really oh shit. Because that definitely was not the smartest thing for me to do. But I did it anyway, because I was not a smart child. I was in the gifted program, but I was still not a smart child. So I pull the needle out, and like an idiot, I drop it on the floor again, because my foot started bleeding, and I began to panic. And I was like, I need to go tell someone. I need to go tell my parents. So that was what I did. I left my room, and I went downstairs. I ran down the stairs. My foot still bleeding this whole time. Because it wasn't, again, tugging on the needle a little bit did not get it out of my foot. It wasn't halfway in. It was nowhere near halfway in. Probably not even a quarter of the way in. And if you know embroidery needles, they're not that large. So it's not like it penetrated deep into my foot or anything. but it did suck. And it did still bleed quite a bit, especially since I was moving to go downstairs, and I didn't have anything immediately available to me that I could apply pressure to the wound with. So I had to rush downstairs, and in retrospect, I probably should have just yelled downstairs at my parents to say, like, hey. And I don't even think I was panicking that bad. I think I just ran downstairs. Like, outwardly, I wasn't panicking that much. I wouldn't be surprised if I actually seemed relatively calm when I walked into the family room and was like, I stepped on an embroidery needle. And I don't think my parents really knew what to do with that immediately, but, I think it was my mom, like, got paper towels and just put it on my foot and let it stop bleeding, and then also got, like, a Ziploc bag of ice to hold against my foot so that it wouldn't swell too much, and also kind of to help the pain a little bit. Sorry, I zoned out there for a second. Got too mesmerized by mahjong. That was a Sunday, and I remember it was on a Sunday evening because the next day was Monday. And I remember the next day was Monday because when I was in elementary school, I don't know if anybody else's elementary schools did this or if it was just my district, but there were classes that were called special classes, and there were like 5 of them, and you would have a different one on every day of the week. And at 6th grade, I went to a different school It wasn't the same school that I went to for kindergarten to 5th grade. I had to go to a different school. I think I've mentioned this before, but it was because I was in the gifted program, and my original elementary school did not have a gifted program for 6th grade students, and by that point, most of my friends were also in the gifted program. I had maybe only 1 or 2 friends that were not in the gifted program. So I was like, well, all my friends are going to be going to this new school, so I might as well go too. It wasn't like I was forced to, but I was like, all my friends are going, so I should too. But at that elementary school, I don't think it was the same for my original one. But at that elementary school, 6th graders at least had gym class on Monday. And if you recall what I said just a little bit ago, it was Sunday evening when I stepped on an embroidery needle. So I had to go to school the next day, a gym class day, after having stepped on an embroidery needle. And that sucked. It didn't really hurt until the morning after. It's the sort of thing where, like, it takes a little bit for the pain to actually set in, and for your body, I guess, to really realize what has happened. In retrospect, it probably would have been a better idea for me to just stay home that day. I'm sure walking around the school that day was not the best for the injury on my foot from the embroidery needle. But, like, I've healed now. It was a little bit more than 6 years ago. I'm completely fine. It wasn't, like, horribly mentally traumatic or anything. It was just kind of this unfortunate thing that happened that I would prefer to never happen again. And I remember when I told my parents, like, yeah, it was stuck in my foot, so I just pulled it out, and they were like, well, what did you do with it? And I was like, oh, I dropped it back on the ground. I could see that they were kind of disappointed in me for that. So my mom had to send my dad back upstairs to search for the needle to pick it up to make sure I didn't step on it again. And both of my parents always wear shoes in the house. So, like, my dad had shoes when he went to my room to find the needle. So, like, he was fine. His feet were safe. But, like, at the same time, and I recognize why they might have thought it was a very dumb idea for me to just drop the needle on the floor again. But at the same time, I also recognize why I did it. Because initially, my primary concern was getting the needle out of my foot, but once it started to bleed, my priorities changed. Suddenly, I wasn't concerned about the needle in my foot anymore because it wasn't in my foot. Instead, the problem was that my foot was bleeding, and continuing to hold a needle certainly wasn't going to help. Also, I was 12 years old and not very smart, and had never experienced anything like that before. No, that's a lie. I'm not gonna, no, if I mention that out loud, I'm gonna feel like I need to tell that story as well, which would be even worse for anybody who's super squeamish. I'll tell it another time. The pen story. The story about me getting stabbed with a pen. That sucked. Again, I survived, obviously. But it still didn't feel very good. I've been recording for more than 30 minutes. Holy shit. I didn't even realize how long this has been going on. I just kept talking. Again, I'll see if I get stuck on this again, then I'll just end the video. But if I don't, then I'll try to finish the beginner stages of mahjong. And then I'll probably just, like, stop the recording session altogether. Wish I could have gone to Klondike Solitaire today, but apparently that's not gonna happen. That's okay. God. But yeah, there's the embroidery needle story. Hopefully to anyone who is not good with, like, blood or injury or anything, hopefully that wasn't too bad. Or you just tuned out and didn't listen, which is fine. I understand. I'm not great with things that are gross either. Blood doesn't particularly bother me. I'm fine with blood. Probably because, A, I am female. I am a cis woman. So, you know, every month, blood. But also, I've had a good number of nosebleeds throughout my life. I just have a fragile inner nose lining, I guess. And nosebleeds suck. Like, they don't hurt. At least I've never had one that has been legitimately painful. But they don't feel good. Because, like, blood is not supposed to be coming out of your nose, obviously. Obviously. If you thought blood was supposed to be coming out of your nose, you're wrong. Reality check. It's not supposed to. How many more stages are there? Okay, just 2 more. Speedrun. I say speedrun, but I'm already stuck. I say I'm stuck as I'm getting more mashes. The key is to, like, locate a match and then select it, but as you're selecting it, also try to look for other matches at the same time. Stuck already. Goddamn. That didn't take very long. Got dealt a bad arrangement on that one. Sorry, you can probably hear the chair when it moves, and that's because this chair is awful and makes way more noise than it should. Those can be matched. Not that one. Those two. And these. And these. And these. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Now this is starting to feel like a party. It's not. I haven't been to a legitimate party in 3 years? I think the last party that I can say I went to was the Secret Santa party that I did with some of my friends in 9th grade. And not a single one of those people do I still talk to. I don't still talk to any of the people that were at that party. Because 3 of them didn't go to the same high school as the rest of us. They all went to a different high school. And then the others, most of them, I never had their phone numbers, so I only ever talked to them at school. So obviously, for those people, my friendships with them went south or just kind of fizzled away when the pandemic hit, and everything closed down, and we couldn't go to school anymore, so I couldn't see most people in person anymore. And then there's one person whose phone number I did have, but or do have. I do still have. It's not like I deleted it or anything. But we just kind of stopped talking. I made efforts to reach out, but eventually realized, like, it's always me that's reaching out first. And I was like, okay, well, whatever. I don't hold any grudges or anything. Like, sometimes that just happens. You know, sometimes friendships or relationships of any kind just kind of fade. There doesn't always have to be something that went wrong in a relationship for it to end. You know, I feel like a lot of people have sort of this false idea of, like, something had to have gone wrong if a friendship ended, but that's not the case. Sometimes they just fade, and, like, that probably happens with a lot of people with friends that they had when they were very young, like in kindergarten or whatever. You know, you just kind of gradually stop seeing people, or you gradually stop talking to them. And then you're like, do I still consider this person a friend? And it's not a bad thing to say, you know what, I don't think I do. So, you know, if that sentiment helps anyone out there, then I'm glad. Because I feel like that's an important thing to realize, is that you're not going to always stay friends with everybody forever. And if you realize that you don't feel like you're friends with someone anymore, it doesn't have to be because something happened, or you feel like something went wrong, or you had, like, a disagreement, or you just cut someone off, or you feel like they betrayed you, or anything like that. None of that sort of stuff is necessary for a friendship to end. And that's important to realize. Because sometimes they just fade. And that's okay. Not everyone is meant to stay in your life forever. And that was the last beginner stage. So, with that important sentiment, important life lesson, I'm imparting wisdom on all of you. I imparted a lot of wisdom in this video, almost 40 minutes. Hopefully, somebody watches all the way through to get that important message at the end. But I'm gonna end this video here, and also this recording session. Maybe I'll play some Klondike Solitaire before I end this session. Yeah, I'll play some Klondike Solitaire. But I'm gonna end this video here, and see you next time when I plan to play Klondike Solitaire.